I'm talking to Robert Gillingham. He is one of the owners of Karmic Outdoors. They're a new company in the outdoor industry that helps people connect themselves back with their lost gear. It's pretty cool. It's cooler than I even thought it was. He gives us all the details and tells you how to use it, and I think you're going to enjoy it. But first, I want to tell you about a few of our trips we have right now. We have some 2021 Argentina big game hunting specials. We have a red stag package that um, it's it sounds pretty great. So they have free range. This outfitter in Argentina, we've been there ourselves. We've sent a number of hunters there, and they all come back with stellar reviews. But they have a package that it's daily rates for one hunter for 7 days, one bronze medal red stag, one European wild boar, and one afternoon of pigeon shooting for 4,900 bucks. That's pretty sweet. You can upgrade it to a silver medal stag for another 990, or a gold medal stag that's up to 360 inches SCI for 2490. Pretty sweet deal. These are free range stags as well. So if you want to jump on that, you better hurry, because I don't imagine that one's going to last very long. The same outfitter also has a water buffalo package, and also 7 days, one bronze medal water buffalo, European wild boar again, and another afternoon of pigeon shooting. Same price, 4,900 bucks. And it does have the same upgrades for the same rates. Very cool. Those water buffalo in Argentina, they look a little bit different than the ones in Australia, which we also have those hunts available as well. They're very cool. So anyway, if you're interested in Argentina, let us know. Okay, without further ado, let's get into the podcast. Oh, by the way, we have lots of other hunts and fishing trips besides those. That's not it. That's just a deal I wanted to pass on to you today. All right, let's go. Hey, Robert. Glad to have you on. We've been
Hey
trying to
Corey, how you
get
doing?
this done forever. Probably six
Yeah,
months we've been talking to each other trying to schedule a podcast, but we finally
been a
you
while.
you tracked me down.
It's been a while, man. I'm relentless. It's been a while.
Yeah. Yeah, it probably has
Yeah,
been 6 months, hasn't it?
yeah. I would say April. So
Yeah.
yeah, right around there.
Yeah. Been a crazy year.
Right
How was
there.
your summer?
So I'm a high school science teacher, and I had summers off, and I was able to spend a lot of time with my son, which is great. The school kind of shut down a little bit early, so I had a lot of time to spend with my little baby, um, and we just hiked as much as we could, fished as much as we could, got outdoors as much as we possibly could. We took advantage of the social distancing. So
Yeah.
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 How about you?
Well, I kind of work from home, so it didn't change. It really, honestly, didn't change my life that much, to be
Didn't
honest.
notice it.
Yeah, the kids were home, from school, so they were all here every day, all day. So that was different, but I kind of like having them around anyway. So
Yeah,
net positive, net win for me.
yeah, yeah. Me too. I mean, like, it's unfortunate, like how this has affected some families and stuff. But my wife's working from home, which has been really great. She's loving not having to get ready for work in the morning, and
Yeah,
the commute and everything. Like, so there have been some positives, but there definitely been a lot of negatives. But there's been some positives.
yeah, for sure. A lot of people didn't have it as lucky, but yeah, for my family, it's been really a pretty great summer.
Good.
So,
Glad
so
to hear it, man.
yeah. So tell me about what you do and how you got started.
Yeah. So I'm one of the co-founders of a company called Karmik Outdoors. We specialize in lost and found outdoor decals that people put on their favorite gear. And if they ever lose that piece of gear, then the finder has a way of identifying who owns that gear. Um, and so this whole sort of idea came about several years ago. Me and Aaron, the other co-founder of Karmik Outdoors, are big time fly fishermen, and we were fishing one of the rivers nearby here called the Owyhee River, and I found a fly rod, and it was a mid-level fly rod with a mid-level reel, but it doesn't matter. Like the guy lost a fly rod, and I'm sure he wanted it back. So I came back and I posted on social media that I found a fly rod, and I got a lot of responses, like a lot of responses, but none of them were for the rod that I had in my hand. And so I thought, like, this is this is astonishing to me that there's this many people have lost a fly rod on this little river in our little local area.
Yeah, it seems like a weird thing to lose too.
Yeah, but like, you kind of just get caught up in the moment, maybe,
Drive
like I don't
away.
know. Like, you drive away, you set up
Yeah.
on the bush, take your waders off, do whatever, and you just drive away. And so like I really tried to get it back to this guy, and I had a lot of people inquire about if it was their rod. And think about all the things that I've lost in my life, and it's like it's astonishing. Like as the
Yep.
fly fisherman, I've lost at least half a dozen fly boxes, and at least three nets.
Right.
Just a lot of stuff that was builds up over time. And so we got to look in, and we were like, is there any good solution to this problem right now? And the best solution, literally on the market right now, is a Sharpie. And we're
Right. That's true.
like, we got to do better than that. Like, there's got to be something better than that. So we spent a little over a year working on a website and a database, and making these decals, and finding just an extremely tough decal that's more than just a sticker. I have some here, but they're just like, they're super tough. Like, it's not just like a vinyl sticker that you slap on your cooler or something. It's they're for like underwater welding, and like
Oh wow.
these companies that use them for hardcore stuff. And so we're like, it's got to be durable. Outdoors people do outdoorsy things,
Mm-hmm.
and they beat their gear up, so it's got to be tough. And we made it so that it's a unique QR code and a unique ID number. So every single one's unique. And when you scan it, it protects your personal information. And when somebody scans it, they enter their personal information, like their contact, like I want to be contacted, email or text, or however you want to be contacted. And it just gives people a way of connecting to each other.
Through an app, I'm assuming.
It's just the website. Yeah, you don't need an
Oh.
app or anything.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
you could just take a picture on your regular camera smartphone. Um, you just bring that up to the QR code, and it syncs it right to our
So it
website. You
forwards you
can
to the website once they take the picture.
exactly.
Okay, cool.
And if you use your phone, it automatically takes you to that specific decal's I'm lost page.
Oh wow.
Because we have the unique ID number, and that decal's already been registered, it must be lost if somebody scans it, right? So we kind of made it as simple as possible for the finder
Mm-hmm.
to get it back to the owner.
Okay. Cool. And how big are they? I haven't seen one yet. How big are the stickers?
So here's my rangefinder,
Okay.
and it's just a little guy that you put on your rangefinder. So it's about 1 inch
Oh yeah,
by
so not crazy big,
1.75. Yeah, it's not too big.
but big enough to get your attention. It's obviously there, which is good.
Correct. Yeah, and we have the two different styles. We have the black and white that we're considering our non-reflective, or our hunting decal, and then we have our orange one that's reflective, and it's like a high visibility one that you would maybe put on your skis, or
Or your cooler
stand-up
maybe, or
paddleboard
something like.
cooler,
Yeah.
fly box, like some that you don't matter if it's reflective, but
Right.
for the hunting community, we wanted something that was like not going to spook game.
Right. For sure.
Yeah,
For sure. That's cool. Awesome.
yeah,
I mean, that's just. I love simple ideas, and a simple
right.
idea that solves a problem. Man, there too many people try to overcomplicate things, and I love, and I'm one of them. Simple ideas are very cool.
Yeah, and
So,
that's what we were hoping to find, just the simplest idea for people to get their gear identified, and get their lost gear back to their
so
hand.
people just have to buy a sticker, put it on their stuff, on their bow,
Right.
and register it on your website,
Hmm.
and that's it. There's no membership, or it just the cost of the sticker.
So there is a membership
Okay.
into the future, but the first year we're going to give it to you for free. Right?
Okay.
You just buy the sticker, and the first year is free. Put it on your favorite gear, and see how you like it. Um, we're confident you're going to like it. Like, for 10 decals, it's it's inexpensive, the amount of value that are on those decals. And so we figure in the future, um, it's it's less than a fly a month. We're looking at charging maybe $30 a year
Okay.
uh, to keep your whole account active. So that's like
That's for
275 a
unlimited
month.
decals. You can buy as many,
Unlimited decals,
but you have to
unlimited
buy each
scans.
decal, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, but the more you buy, the cheaper it is, obviously.
And how much are they?
So one decal is $3.99,
Okay.
um, but but we're hoping people don't just buy one because nobody
Right.
really does
Well,
one
that's
thing
super
a day.
reasonable.
Yeah. Our hope with that single pack is that you're in a fly shop or you're in the archery shop or whatever, and you just bought one thing and you just want to protect that one thing.
Hmm.
But we sell large packs. Like our gear junkie pack um, is $49 and you get 25 decals.
Okay.
I mean, you can protect all of your hunting and all of your fishing gear. And
Well, most people could. Some people got
yeah,
to buy three or four of those.
that's probably true. Actually,
Yeah.
yeah, we probably should make a bigger pack, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah, yeah. Aaron and I, you know, we both have a ton of stuff
Right.
between families, having kids,
Yeah.
and stuff. And like the chances of me losing something are pretty high. Chance of like a kid losing something is really high.
Right.
So
For sure. They're little demons.
yeah. um, and just sometimes people don't even lose things. They just get misplaced or mistaken. I actually, so we ran a trial before we launched this business. We wanted to see, is this, we had a couple questions. Do people want to return gear that they found, and will they do it?
Right.
And,
That's what I
and
was
the
going to
answer,
ask.
the answers that we got to both of those questions were yes. We ran a trial
Good.
where we put it on our own stuff, and we lost our own stuff all over the Boise Valley. We lost on the Boise River. We lost at our local ski resort. We lost it at some of the local fishing, hot spots, and even the destination rivers that are nearby. And we got our gear back at a fairly high return rate. At 75% of the time, we got our gear back.
Oh, wow.
And
And
our
what kind of
fly
gear
box,
was it? Did you do any
oh,
expensive gear?
Um, yeah. At that point, we didn't know if it was going to work, so we didn't have enough confidence to
Right.
put it on our expensive gear. Now,
Yeah.
now I certainly would. Now I would have no qualms about it at all. But we lost the fly boxes, we lost the GPS, we lost a skiing helmet, we lost just
Well,
things.
that's GPS is fairly expensive.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't really use my GPS anymore.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
but
same here.
yeah,
But there's a
but
perceived value there, though. Somebody finds a
right,
GPS. There's you think this is 300-400 bucks.
right.
Um, Many people would consider not giving it back.
Yeah,
I would
but
imagine.
so that was one of the questions, was are people willing to give it back? And yes, they were. So
That's
like I said,
awesome.
75% of the time people were willing to give it back. And the other 25%, we we just threw together a quick website, and it didn't look, it was kind of sketchy.
Right.
People might not want to put their personal information in. Now we have a legitimate branded website with security and protection and all that stuff. Um, and so that sort of eliminated that factor. And so at our local ski resort, this guy, he found my fly box and returned it to me, and he told me that at our local ski resort he had bought a pair of skis, and he went into the lodge and then came back out and the skis were gone, and he thought somebody stole it. But what happened was a family, the dad told the kid to go get the skis,
And he
and the
grabbed
kid
the
grabbed the
wrong
wrong set of
skis.
skis. Right.
Right.
Went back down. Went back home. The guy was like, "Well, that's it. I lost my skis forever." Right. And then he came back and just so happened to stop by the Lost and Found, and that family had come back the next day and put his skis in the Lost and Found. But nobody knew whose it was. Right. The Lost and Found didn't know whose it was. The people who accidentally took his skis didn't know who it was. So skis are expensive, and this
Right.
guy was super bummed. But then he got them back. So
That restores
so
some faith in humanity.
that's exactly it.
Yeah.
That's one of our goals, is to restore people's faith in
Yeah.
humanity, because we genuinely believe that the outdoor community is a good group of people.
I
Like,
totally agree.
we genuinely believe that. Like, with all my heart, I believe that, generally speaking, in the outdoor community, if somebody finds something of value, or not even of value, if they find something, they're going to make an effort to get it back to
Yep.
people.
Yep.
And if you scour the internet, there's tons of lost and found pages. There's tons of stuff on Craigslist. There's tons of people.
You're seeing on
Hey,
Facebook all the time. Hey, I've a picture. Hey, I found this. Anybody know who?
right,
Tell me where I found it, and I'll give it back to you, sort of thing.
right, exactly.
Yeah, I see that all the time.
And so we thought this is a big problem. We've got to solve this problem. We want to help our community. So we came up with the idea.
Awesome. Now
You know,
I've just been looking through your website a little bit, and it says something about a reward. How's that
yeah,
work?
yeah. Thank you for that. For the maybe not so, eager to
Honest
get it back
person.
to you people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a 5-point return incentive program through Karmic Outdoors. So when you buy our decals and you register your subscription through us, we're going to protect you with a 5-point return incentive program. The first one being we're going to give the finder a free set of decals.
Okay.
They know it works, so hopefully they're like,
Right.
hey, I know it works, so I'll put it on some of my gear. Two, we're going to enter them into a monthly drawing for a small prize pack. It's just going to be random group of names. Once a month, we'll pull a name out of the hat and give them a small prize. Put them in for a big annual drawing, a big annual prize. And some of our partners that we've been working with love the idea, and they want to sponsor us. They want to throw gear our way. We can't drop any names yet, but there's a lot of good stuff coming up in these prize packs that people are like, yeah, that's a great idea. We'd love to help sponsor you guys for that. So we got the decals, the small monthly prize, the large annual prize. The owner themselves can anonymously attach a reward to the item.
Okay.
And if you're going on a moose hunt in Alaska or something, and your gun or your bow gets lost or something like that, like that's a high value item that you might want to get back fast, right?
Yeah.
So there's that. Or you might just want to buy the person a cup of coffee, or you might just want to buy, tie them a dozen flies or whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
It's up to
Yeah.
you. Just
A
if
gift
you want to give
card
them
to a restaurant or something.
exactly. If you
Yeah.
want to give them a reward, great. If you just want to give them a high five and say thank you, that's fine too. And then we kind of joke that our business is called Karmic Outdoors, and the universe is going to provide the karma.
Right.
The river karma is a real thing, and I'm sure other communities believe in the outdoor karma.
Have you ever heard the story about eBay? And um, I don't even really know how to go into it. I haven't thought about it I might screw this up, but I haven't thought about it for years. But when eBay first started, they had all this check and balance system set up. And when somebody like I bought a bow from you over eBay, you're paying me and then you're trusting me to send you the bow.
Oh yeah,
And nobody thought that people would do it. They thought there was going to be rampant corruption and stealing and thievery.
right.
So they built all these checks and balances in, and they had a panel of people to oversee each transaction, and they had insurance and just tons and tons of things to make sure that the transaction actually happened and nobody got screwed, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And after like 2 years, they found that like 98% of the people just did what they were supposed to do. They sent them the
Yeah,
money, and the people sent them the product, and there are no issues. So all of those checks and balances, as far as I know most of them for a fact have gone away. And I've
sure.
always really liked that story because you just assume people. I don't know. You look at what's going on right now in the world, and you assume people aren't that good, but I think
Yeah,
they are.
it goes back to the old, psychology. John Locke, and are people genuinely good, or are people genuinely bad, or genuinely people don't really care?
Right.
And I personally, I'm always a glass half full kind of guy. I believe in the good human nature of people. Um, I totally believe it to be true. Like if I found something, I'd want to get it back,
Yeah,
and
me too.
I believe that most people do.
Yep. Yep,
And
for sure.
and and sure enough, if you don't have if you don't have a decal, or you don't have your name on your item, you're never getting it back, right?
No, probably. I mean, the
So
odds are so
so
slim that.
so why not try something to get your gear back?
Yep. Yeah, and that's pretty cheap. That's a pretty cheap insurance policy for
Right,
some really expensive gear.
right. One of my buddies, he lost the stand-up paddleboard. Didn't know somebody didn't steal it. It
Lost
just
a
the
what?
stand-up paddleboard.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
He was out on near McCall, on the lake near McCall, um, and he they went up to go to their cabin, and they came back, and there was a big windstorm, and they just left the stand-up paddleboard sitting on the bank, and well, the waves must have got it and took it off, and it's $1,000 to replace a
Right.
stand-up paddleboard, right? So it's like, one,
Excuse me.
you're all right.
Geez, sorry about that.
One simple decal, is is invaluable almost.
So did he have the decal?
Nope,
Oh, okay.
unfortunately.
I was going to ask you, do you have any success stories so far?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. We're still so new in the infancy program. I'm so excited for the day it happens.
Yeah.
But we're still at the we're still climbing this uphill battle of educating the consumer,
Right.
letting the world know that we're here. There's a better solution out there,
Yep.
getting some decals on people's gear to protect them. But yeah, I'm so excited for the day that it actually happens.
Well, to be honest, we've been talking for 6 months now, and I'm super busy. And so
Yeah.
I really hadn't done a ton of research in that time. But I thought I knew what you were.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to your website today to kind of do some research on it. And it's like, oh, that's way cooler than I thought it was. And I think the whole trick is going to get people to actually go to your website or listen to a podcast like this, or get people to not assume they know what it is and actually know what it is, and be
Sure.
surprised at, one, how cheap it is, and two, that it's a great insurance policy for your gear.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So there's the one part that you mentioned there. I don't know what it is about human nature, but I think that everybody's a little bit more confident than we really are. Everybody thinks I'm not going to lose that thing. Like I'll
right.
never lose that, right? Like I don't lose anything. I keep my things out in front of me. And Aaron, the co-founder, he's that type of guy, right? He's like, I don't lose anything. I'll never lose anything. And today, well, not today, Sunday, on our archery elk hunt, he lost his trekking poles. We're tired, right? We
Right.
busted our butt hiking 8 miles, and he set him down by the truck, and we put all our gear away, and it was in the grass, and we drove off, and he lost his trekking poles. So
Yep. Did he?
even
Here's the
the most
question,
clever
though.
among
Here's the question: did they have stickers on
no,
them?
no, but luckily
Hilarious.
he did. How ironic is that, right?
Yeah.
No, he did go back in there, and he did find him sitting in the grass. But yeah, immediately as soon as he found out, as soon as he realized he didn't have him, we both looked at each other and we both laughed, and we're like, how is it that two founders of a lost and found company
Yeah.
just lost something? Can you believe how
Yeah.
the
You guys
irony?
should be a walking everything stickers all over you.
I know it. I know it.
Is there any
Yeah.
way to put to make a, it wouldn't be a sticker, but like a tag you could sew into clothes or anything?
Yeah, we're working on all that. Like we have
Yeah.
so many ideas coming up. We're working on a dime tag, something that's small, round, that you can put on top of a golf club, something that you put on a tennis racket or bottom of a fishing rod or fly
Oh,
rod.
cool.
We're working on the dog tag that you can put on something that maybe wouldn't be great, like a fly vest, or maybe even luggage, something that is like it wouldn't be good to stick something to. We're
Right.
looking at doing an iron-on decal where you can get it and
There, yeah.
yeah, put it on your
And you
expensive
said
hunting gear.
dog tag. Even a dog tag would be cool on
Why
dog
not?
collars. Because all the time I have dogs come by the front door. I don't know whose they are. I put them on Facebook. But
Yeah,
but yeah, just a little scan their collar.
yeah,
That's way
yeah,
better than
and
a chip.
yeah. The microchip, you got to take it to a vet. You
Yeah.
got to do all that stuff, and even the dog collars. Sometimes the phone numbers are wrong. Like
Right.
the nice thing about these decals, in our opinion, is that you just go into your account and you can change your information. You can just deactivate it. Like if you had something you wanted to sell, you just deactivate that decal, sell it to the next person, and now they have a Karmic decal that they can register that gear and put their information on.
Right.
So, so yeah, there's a lot of benefits over the traditional way of doing things.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
I love it. That's cool.
yeah,
This episode of the Outdoors International podcast is brought to you by GotHunts.com. We've worked with the guys over at Got Hunts for a long time, and they just launched a really cool new membership. It's only $9.99 a month. You get a 7-day free trial, and with that membership, you get discounts on outdoor gear that'll blow your mind. They're huge, and I'm astounded at how much gear they're adding. New gear added every day almost. Right now, the guy running it, he's up elk hunting, so probably won't be anything added for a little bit. But yeah, they keep every day they keep adding a few new items, and it's just going to get better and better. I've looked at it for a while, and I was pretty excited before, but this last time I looked, man, there's some good stuff on there. So the discounts can be up to 50%, in a few cases even more. It's I've looked around, and I can't find any better deals. So check them out. Gothunts.com. I think you're gonna like it. Oh, by the way, I almost forgot. If you're a veteran, they're giving you a free membership. So just go sign up. It's easy as that. Let me know what you think. So how'd you do elk hunting?
Oh man, it was exciting.
Was
this,
it?
yeah, this is where the podcast is going to get good. Like
Yeah, good,
if
good.
anybody wants to listen to the podcast, just like
Yeah, the rest was
skip,
just business. Let's talk elk
skip all
hunting.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're getting to elk hunting now. This is what we care about, right? So
yeah.
this is my first year carrying a bow for elk. Like for me, I've gone on a couple of elk hunts where I've been helping people. But this year, the stars aligned, and my son's 1 year old now. And last year I didn't want to do that, but so this year, all summer I've been training. I've been shooting 2 or 3 days a week. Like I felt like I was ready, and so we got in there, and Friday I was so ready, and then nothing happened.
Yeah.
Right, like we just hiked the mountains. Like I was just going for a hike with my bow in my hand. We didn't have hardly anything. Saturday we hiked all day long. Didn't hardly hear anything. We heard a few chuckles in the morning. We tried to chase them, and they just ghosted us. And then Sunday morning, we decided to kind of separate and go different ways. And I kind of went by myself, and I just kind of randomly saw something on my Onyx that looked intriguing to me. So I went in and checked it out. And like I'm new to bugling, I'm new to cow calling, I'm new to all this stuff. And I listened to dozens of podcasts and thought I knew what I was doing. And so I try to make these calls, and I don't think they sound very good, but sometimes the elk don't care, I guess.
Right.
And so I'm walking along, and I'm bugling into these different drainages, and I don't hear anything. And finally I come around the bend, and I bugle into this big long drainage, and I hear some chuckles, and I was like, whoa, that sounded really close. But one of my problems is I don't have enough experience to know how far this chuckle is away from me. Yeah. But in my mind, I'm thinking it's a chuckle. It can't be too far away. So it's gotta be pretty close. So immediately I just set up, right? I just sit behind a tree, in front of a tree, and start raking the tree and do some cow calling. I just sit for 10 minutes, right? Nothing happens because he's a lot further, really.
Right. Yeah.
And then I bugle again, and he fires right back with a chuckle. And so I'm like, whoa, okay. I move another 50 yards or so, bugle again, he chuckles again. And then I'm like, okay, well, I kind of know where he's at now. Like we've done it a couple of times. I played this, like now I think I know where he's at. So then I start bugling and like raking the tree and cow calling and stuff. And he gets a little more fired up. Like he sounds like he's getting a little more into it. He doesn't just chuckle this time. Now he lets out a half-hearted bugle followed by a little chuckle. And so I hike a little bit closer to him. And this time I just rip a bugle, rake a tree, and he bugles, and I bugle over top of him, and he didn't like that at all.
Yeah,
he just went crazy right there, started chuckling, and then about every 2 minutes after that, he was bugling his head off, just going crazy. And unfortunately, I was on one side of a canyon, he was on the other side of the canyon, so I had to go way past him, cross the creek, and then start climbing up. And at this time, like I've never experienced this in my life. Like I've never called an elk. I've never had a response. And this is like right now, if my season ended, I'd be so happy at that point. Right.
Right.
I go up about maybe like 400 yards up the side of the steep hill. It's kind of open. I get into this little patch of trees, and I can tell like this is where they were not very long ago. It stinks. The ground's all tore up. There's poop everywhere. And so I sit there and I cow call, nothing. I bugle, he rips one off, and like he's in the next set of trees. That's maybe 80 yards away. And so I sit for a minute and I go, this is about to happen, right? Holy cow, this is like, I can't believe this, right? I'm so excited, like shaking. And so I'm like, I'm wide open. Like I'm in a patch of trees, but they're big trees, and he could see me. I got to get to cover. So if he comes out and he looks for me, he isn't going to see me. And this is probably from the time he bugles to the time I think that and decide to move is probably about a minute, right? Not very long, but in my head, I'm trying to play out all these different scenarios and stuff. And so I walk to the edge of the trees, and there's a big opening to the next set of trees. And as soon as I step out of the trees, I look up and there's a 6 point bull, like 50 yards right there. Just big, like in my mind, right? Like in
Yeah.
actuality, he probably wasn't as big as he was, but in my mind, he's just like this beautiful regal animal
And he
with
busted
horns.
you.
He looked at me and then turned and just kind of slowly trotted off into the trees.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy crap, right?
Yeah.
I was like, the
Except it
gig's
wasn't
up. I'm done.
crap.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went and sat on I went to the trees that I wanted to get to, and I was like, okay, well, he didn't tear off, I didn't hear any barking or anything. They didn't tear off. So I was like, well, I'm just going to eat some breakfast. Like, I'm just going to take out some fruit, eat some fruit, drink some water, try to calm down, relax a little bit. And then, 5 minutes into that, he bugles again in the set of trees. And I'm like, okay, well, he's still there. They're still there. And I finished my fruit, finished my water, and he's bugling again. Like he probably bugled 3 times in 10 minutes, just gathering his cows, I think. And so I'm like, okay, here we go. And I walk into the set of trees where they are. And this spot is much thicker. And I bugle, and he rips a bugle off. And I can see him 70 yards away walking back on the trail towards me.
Oh
Like
man, he
he
wanted
was mad. Yeah, he wanted it. He was mad.
it.
And he walks, and I see him on the trail walking right at me. And then there's this big pine tree, and he walks and stops right behind the big pine tree. But just to the right of it, there's a big opening, and it's 51 yards to the tree behind it. And I'm like, if he walks out 51 yards, I can do that all day long. I've been shooting all summer. I'm ready. I got my broadhead. I'm ready to go. Right, just 2 steps, he's mine.
Right.
I'm shaking. My right leg was shaking so bad. I literally had to take 2 steps and put weight on my right leg so it would stop shaking.
There's nothing like it, is there?
It was insane, man. And we're in a standoff for 5 minutes at least. Like nobody's moving, nobody's doing anything. And then I hear something below me, and I look down, and 8 cows and a couple fawns bust out from the thicket below me, and they kind of just bounce off, and they're out of there. But he didn't move; he's still there. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna rip off a bugle to make him think that a bull just chased his cows out of there.
Right.
That was what was going through my mind, and so I ripped off a bugle, and then as soon as my bugle was done, he just the most glorious, just big roar right behind that tree. It was amazing. Like my the hairs on my neck were standing up. I was like, oh my gosh. And so I'm still ready to go. I'm still thinking he's just gonna take 2 steps. I look up, and there's a spike 45 yards above me, just walking. And I'm like, okay, like I could shoot the spike right now, but there's a 6 point right there, right?
Yeah.
And then so I'm ready to go, and another few minutes goes by, and nothing. And then I kind of lean over a little bit, like I'm kind of leaning around the tree, and I see him turn and just start walking away with his cows. And at this point, like my heart skips a beat. I'm just like, oh crap. And so I bugle, and I could see him stop and turn around, and
You
he
just
bugles
bugle and
again,
walk away.
and then yep, and then he just starts bugling, walking away. Him and his cows just gone. And then, I mean, there's no way I could keep up with him. I was trying to run. I was trying to go as fast as I could. And
Yeah.
every step I took, they were 5 steps ahead of me. Just further and further and further and further away.
Yeah. If they're not
So,
grazing, if they're not stopping and grazing, it's impossible. You just
oh man,
that's
but
rough. But man, how cool.
it was the coolest experience, man. As a first time archery elk hunter, and 2 days of almost nothing, to get into that was just, like I said, my season could be over right now, and I'd be totally content with it. It was such a great experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well,
Yeah,
cool. Well,
it was
now you're
great.
hooked.
I know. Yeah, definitely hooked. Like there's no going back, man.
Yeah.
It's like duck hunting. Like you see the ducks and you start calling to them, and they do what you want them to do. It's great. I love
Yeah,
it.
for sure. Yeah.
How about you? Did you get out?
I haven't been hunting for myself yet. I took my son on a trip to Austin, um, 2 weeks ago, I guess. No, it was
Mm-hmm.
last week, I think. And so I hadn't hunted yet. And then a couple days ago, my buddy called me and he goes, "Hey, Corey, I need your help. I shot a bull. I can't find him." And I shot him at last light the night before. So I went up there and we spent all day kind of tracking him and ran out of blood. And the blood wasn't very good at all. And we went like 500 yards maybe and ran out of blood and it just didn't feel like he was hit that hard.
Mm-hmm.
And my buddy kept saying I hit him quartering away, hit him perfect back behind the ribs. I know I hit him. I hit right where I was aiming. I'm like, all right,
Mm-hmm.
so we keep trying to track him, and I finally I didn't give up, but I said, well, we're out of blood. Let's just, I think if I was an elk, I don't think I would have continued going up over this ridge. I would have curled down and gone into cover. So we go over and we sit on this butte and we're just kind of glassing down into there and our wind was rolling right into it. And all of a sudden here comes a spike running out about 500 yards below us. And then here comes a cow and a calf. And then here comes a big, nice, beautiful 6 point coming out. He was limping just a touch, but he
Mm-hmm.
comes out and sure enough, there was blood right where he said, right behind his ribs. And which doesn't make a lot of sense because
Mm-hmm.
if he'd either be gut shot and dead or dying, or shot through the lungs and dead.
Especially that long after the
Right.
shot.
Yeah, it's like almost 24 hours at this point, just about. So the only thing I can really make sense of is he's quartered really hard and it went outside the ribs. It just
Sure.
skipped along the ribs
Between the
and
ribs and the
didn't go into
skin.
the cavity. So, but that bull was fine. We watched him go like 5 ridges over. He was just fine. So that's been the extent of my elk hunting so far. I'm going the day after tomorrow, and I'm
Okay.
gonna go for a couple days. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
going
that's
crazy. I'm hearing all these stories, seeing all these pictures, and I'm going nuts.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man, I'm chomping at the bit to get back out there. My wife is nice enough to let me get out a couple of weekends and take care of the little guy for me. So
Good. Yeah.
um yeah, I cannot wait to get back out.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Did your buddy get into anything?
No. Mm-mm.
No.
I think that everybody says that the last week of September, like that's when they start talking. Like, don't even bother going to the last week of September, and I don't believe that.
No.
I think every day that you can get out there, you need to get out there. We went out there August 30th. Um, we went out August 30th, and we ripped off a bugle, and one answered below us. We were more or less just scouting at that point. Um, you just got to find one, right?
Right.
You just got to find the one that wants to play the game, and I'm sure at different times of the year they're playing the game.
Yep, for sure. It does kind of heat up, but later in the season they have big harems, and it's hard to pull that big bull away from it. I had something kind of interesting. I've shot quite a few bulls with my bow, and I was looking through my diary a couple years ago, like 3 years ago, looking through it and just kind of just reminiscing. And I realized that almost 90% of the elk that I've killed with my bow, I killed on the 19th of September,
Oh,
on
really?
that day, which is,
Really?
yeah, which is kind of interesting. So I make sure now I never miss the 19th.
That's that.
That's my personal magic day. I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but the 19th's
Well,
magic for me.
according to Corey Jacobson, um, the fall equinox is when the cows are supposed to, the daylight and the nighttime are supposed to be equal times. And the fall equinox is when it's supposed to be when cows go into estrus.
Hmm.
And so this year it's the 22nd, I think. And so, 3 days before, 3 days
Yep,
after, you kind of got a little window there that puts you right at the 19th.
sure does. Yeah,
So,
sure does. Interesting.
I can see why that's a good day for you.
Yeah. Huh. That's interesting. I I listened to Corey's stuff, but I hadn't put that one together.
Listen to every single podcast that has the word elk in it.
Yeah, you're an addict.
Man, I can't stop, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it, man. I
And
get
I
it.
just, I just, I just respect so much out of those guys who are able to get it done every year. I'm gonna respect anybody who's able to get it done once. Somebody's able
Right.
to get it done more than once is incredible. And those guys that make it their life, like,
Hmm.
I listen, they're gospel. I listen to everything they got.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because it's no
So
easy task. Killing an elk with bow isn't. It's not easy.
killing anything with a bow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
So
sure. So what about fly fishing? That's your main thing, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, if you ask me what I am, I would consider myself a fly fisherman.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so I'm born and raised in Las Vegas, and um, went to college in Reno, got a degree in wildlife ecology and conservation biology, and then moved to Idaho because I was going to be a fly fishing guide when I first moved here. I went to guiding school and like I was all signed up and like I was ready to go. Um, and then I just kind of realized that's not really for me. I still like the idea of it. Like I still think guiding would be really fun,
Right.
but at the same time, it's like I took fishing and turned it into work, and I didn't want to do that for myself.
I did that to myself with guiding hunters.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
Yeah. See, like I just love the idea. Like I love people. I love helping people. I love interacting with people and conversing with them. But then I was like, man, I love fly fishing for myself.
Right.
I don't want to make it a job. So I switched from that, and I worked for Idaho Fish and Game for a number of years in a number of different capacities. I was an Idaho Fish and Game conservation officer for a while there, and yeah, I just realized more and more and more that I like being outdoors, but I'm sort of selfish in that I like doing it for myself.
Right. I
you
get
know,
that.
I,
Yep.
you know, I taught archery, I taught hunter's ed, I taught anglers education, I taught all kinds of stuff. And like as much joy as it brought me, it's like at the end of the day, I like taking my wife fishing.
Yeah.
We like to go fishing. So,
Yeah. Cool.
um, yeah, I would consider myself a fly fisherman. Like if there's one thing in life that I would say that like not to be arrogant or something that I'm good at would be fly fishing.
Yeah, that's
I've
awesome.
just made it a passion of mine and studied it and tried to break it down. My wife and I, we quit our jobs and traveled the country fly fishing. We went to Alaska, went to
Oh,
New
really?
York, went to Key West, we went everywhere and fly fished all over the place.
Oh, very cool. I wish I was a better fly fisherman. I want to put in some time. I look like I know what I'm doing. I can cast real pretty, but I
Yeah,
can't catch fish.
the fish don't care about the
No,
casting part.
they don't. They don't, not
That's
at
for
all.
everybody above water.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever fished for permit?
No,
Oh man. There's another addiction.
is it really?
Oh man. Yeah, they're super tough. And it's kind of like it's kind of like spot and stock hunting. You're in the flats
Yeah,
and your guide's pulling you along and you're
yeah.
looking for the little black fins and sneaking up and cast. It's pretty awesome. I've yet to catch one. I hooked two, and that was seven
That's
day. It was a 7 day trip down to Mexico and fishing hard, 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 hard.
yeah,
And I got two hits, but I can't help but not trout set.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's so hard not to.
yeah. I mean, it's just like muscle memory, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I'll be
Yeah,
back for permit. They're very cool.
yeah. I would love the challenge. I'd love to get out there. We've done redfish and sea trout and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But we haven't been able to get out on any of those flats for any of those bonefish or anything like that. But hopefully soon.
Yeah, cool. That's
Yeah,
awesome. Well, do you have
yeah.
anything else to fill me in on?
I don't think so. I mean, I,
Okay.
I appreciate you having me on to talk about the business and how we can help people and I appreciate you letting me tell my elk story. I was really excited about that.
Yeah. I wish it had a different ending.
I do too. Hopefully, I can get back on them on Friday.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, for sure. Well, good luck. Let me know how you do.
I appreciate it. Yeah, and then I want to hear about how you guys do also.
All right. Sounds good. Hopefully I have a story.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, man. Well, I'm going to get back to the family.
Yeah, Corey, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank
much. I
you.
really appreciate
Appreciate
it.
it.
Yeah, thank you.
See ya.
Yeah.